Welcome to War Journal, Flames of War. And this podcast is our thoughts and discussions about the Flames of War games and other related interests. This episode is brought to you by Tracy George and Chaos Magic. We are not claiming to be experts of the game, but just wanted to have a casual conversation about Flames of War. Without any further delay, we now make our advance onto the podcast. And here are your hosts, Tracy and Arthur.
This is Tracy.
And I'm Arthur.
Welcome to War Journal Flames of War, Episode 4, A Company of Heroes. What's on tap for today's episode, Arthur?
We have 7 segments this week. In our hobby, we explore using other countries' rules. We discuss the news on Battlefront's homepage. In Keep Your Enemies Close, we take a look at the Flames of War version of Band of Brothers. That's New takes a look at another tricky rule. We talk about our time trying out Flames of Tanks in the segment War. We again apply Sun Tzu's Art of War to Flames of War. And we end with an off-topic discussion about tabletop role-playing games.
Our hobby.
Alright, so kind of talked a little bit about possibly playing other armies, but it isn't so much playing like Germany, US, British, or Soviet, but like the obscure kind of list.
Yeah, definitely want to look into that and maybe pick up a few. Like at one point, I was looking at like just so I have a ally list, so I'll look through making a French army. Because I think they had Shermans and Fireflies. Because once again, I was thinking about getting open fire, like what I'm going to do with these Shermans and Fireflies. And
right.
that was the solution to that problem. If I ever pick it up, still have the problem with Stugs.
Well, I kind of went through some, and all I did was, I think it's easier to start like a tank company. So really, I just went through some tank companies. So using what I've got right now, kind of like I can fudge a little bit with what takes British stuff. I can do Canadian, which is kind of British stuff. I can do Finnish, which is using my Soviet stuff. And then there's French. I think they're using US. And then Polish, is using British. So if you think about it, if you go British, you could play a lot of these obscure armies, it seems like.
Yeah, so are those on the Discover ones you found rules for?
Yeah, and I think the one we saw for you was like Hungary.
Yeah, you mentioned Hungary.
Yeah.
Hungarian.
And I think there was one other, I think it was like Finnish or something like that. It was really weird list because it had like 2 ally lists, like with Soviets, but then it had like 1 German list. So maybe during the late wars when they switched over.
Something to look into.
Yeah, they got some, we've read some of the different rules they've got, so it would be kind of like just a nice change of pace, and hopefully, I really don't want to buy a whole bunch of stuff just to play those. Just use what I've got and just say, these are the Canadians.
Well, I'm still building up my original force.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's see how that goes. And I may try a game using one of these, maybe to finish with the Soviet stuff, so I can use my Soviet stuff again.
Also, at least they have rules in the North African book. They have Italy.
Yes.
And they had some interesting rules, especially like the one rule that was like Stormtrooper move, but it was for shooting instead of assault.
Oh, that's right. They can Stormtrooper during the shooting step.
Yeah. It was nothing said they couldn't assault afterwards.
Wow, that's scary.
So
yeah, actually, now that you say that, I didn't look at any mid-war. This is all late war.
Oh yeah.
When I was looking at this, so yeah, I should look at mid-war too and see what's possible. Take on your whatever you're going to throw at me. Italy.
Yeah, it's like see what they can do. You're just like, okay, a bunch of infantry. Okay, they'll move up. Stormtrooper move up. Even though it's not called Stormtrooper move, it's called something else I can't pronounce.
Same thing though, but man, well, I'm glad Germany doesn't get that then. Man, wow.
Because like, okay, yeah, because you can move 6 inches.
So they can move 6. That's I'm going to put in quotes Stormtrooper during the shooting step 4 more, and then assault 4.
So if you're within 14 inches of me.
Wow. Actually, I'm glad Soviet doesn't have that either because, man, you have 20-some guys coming at you. Whoa. Or stands, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna play Italy. Next time we play Mid-War, I might play Italy.
Yeah, well, we'll see what tanks and stuff they got, and I'll take you on with maybe some Canadians or something, or Polish. Well, I don't know. Mid-War's gonna be different. I'll have to look at the Mid-War stuff and see what's available.
So,
You're on.
Yeah.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Battlefront Front Page News.
All right, so we're looking at the front page. There's only a couple things I want to look at, and one was the Open Fire Hub, which they're talking about what's in the Open Fire box, which I'm still a little disappointed that the full rule book is not in there.
Yeah, so I'm a lot less interested in it than the old one, because otherwise it looks like it's mostly the same thing, except for maybe better models.
Yeah, I think probably better models. They got a measuring stick in there. But the thing I think is really interesting is they're now making these like mini boxes. So they got a display set up. You can see the open fire boxes, and next to them is like some mini boxes, and they have like Panzer IVs, Stug Gs, half tracks, 483 Shermans, and I think it's like 2 or 3 tanks per box.
Okay, that interests me.
So it's a little. What else they got? Well, you play German, so they have the Panzer IVs, Stug Gs, and your half tracks that you can add to your open fire box set.
So Panzer IV H's. Need to know the letter. So yeah, that's significant. And what else? Other stuff I'm not familiar with. I am interested in the Panzer IV H's.
I'm interested in half tracks. I saw that. I was excited before, and it turned out to be Britain, so now I'm a little excited again. I just don't know how many's in this American M3 half tracks box. But yeah, I can't wait to see what else they come out for this. So I think this will help.
Yeah.
I think this will help.
I hope we get the display over here. I'm not sure we actually would.
Yeah, I don't know either. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have anything else except for just a question of the week, unless you want to talk about anything else on that that open fire.
Not really, but yeah, I haven't really looked at it, and completely blew me by the Panzer IV H's. Also, the Soviet T-34s. I can't remember what list Germany has that could pass captured Russian tanks. I think one of the tanks is T-34, so that's another tank I'd be interested in.
Might be desperate measures. 'Cause by that time, Germany was scrounging for whatever they could get. So
definitely something I need to start looking into.
All right, so the question of the week is recoilless guns. So I don't know that much about recoilless guns, so
I have no idea.
so this is going to be I'm going on kind of my knowledge of what I read about recoilless guns way back many years ago. So I've never ran a recoilless gun, so I haven't ran into anybody that's ran them. So this is going to be all. So
this is something like I saw this question earlier, and when I ran out, like I didn't even know this was in the game.
So there's like A, B, C, D, E, F, yes or no. It's basically yes or no on each of these. And I think what we'll do is we'll just take one at a time and go yes or no. Okay. So we'll do like A. So mark all statements true regarding recoilless guns. So A, recoilless guns never count as concealed if they're fired in their last shooting step.
I don't know.
I would go, they are not concealed. Because they throw out if I remember right about recoilless guns, they throw out a big old plume of smoke behind them.
Oh, okay. I have no idea. I'm going to say yes. So one of us would be right.
So we could say this show, we are always right.
Someone's right.
Okay, B, recoilless guns cannot fire within buildings. I will go true. No, you know what?
I'll say false.
I would say false, because you can put big guns in a building. No, do you know what? I'm going to go they can't.
So, I'm going to...
You know what? I need to mark these. Okay, so this is me. This is Arthur. So in A, I said they never count,
true.
so I'm going to say that's true, and you said false. Okay. B, I'm going to go recoilless guns cannot fire. I'm going to go true. They cannot.
I'm going to go false. I have no idea.
I don't know either. We'll see how we do. C, recoilless guns cannot fire their guns in defensive fire that may shoot as rifle teams. I'll go true on that one.
I have no idea what we're talking about, so I'll go true.
Hey, we both think it's true. All right, I'm true on everything so far. I think I'm going to be wrong on this. Okay, we're on D. Recoilless guns cannot shoot if there's a tank team within 2 inches standing directly behind them. I'm going to go false. I think it's infantry teams or gun teams behind them. You don't want people.
Oh, so the tank team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like.
So I think that's a
False.
little twist. They're trying to play a little twist. I think it's you can't have people behind the gun.
It would help if I knew what kind of gun this was.
Well, they got a picture.
Like.
Okay, we're on E. Wait, what'd you say? I said
Uh,
false, and you said, I think you said false also.
Yeah.
Okay, E. Recoilless guns cannot fire if they moved in their last movement step. I'm going to say true. I think it's one of those guns that takes a little bit of time to set up.
That doesn't seem like it take that much, so I'll say false.
All right. You're Mr. Pessimism here. I'm Mr. Optimistic. I have one false so far. Okay, F. Recoilless guns cannot shoot if there's a friendly team within 2 inches standing directly behind them.
Say true.
I'm going to still say false because what would a tank worry about it? All right, so I have 2 false and the rest are true. So we'll see how this goes. We have no idea.
Yeah. I just was making up answers because, like.
No, we know what we're talking about. Yeah. No.
I don't.
All right.
What about, do you have the question of the week for last time you.
Oh, do you know what? Let's check that out. That's a good question. All right, so what we did was we answered number 61, which was 2 weeks ago. And the question is about this Finnish guy. It says, will the warrior team have to test for sole survivor? Yes or no? So here's the situation. A Finnish infantry platoon has the honor of being led by a named warrior infantry team after having its command team replaced during the creation of the company. After some fierce fighting, the warrior is all that remains of the once glorious platoon. Will the warrior team have to test sole survivor? And I said no. I think we both said no.
Yeah, I was iffy, but I think I finally said no.
And the answer is no, because warriors never have to do a sole survivor. Now he'll have to do a platoon morale check, and if he fails that, he's gone. So
Yeah, I think I looked up in between times to find out like words that were on the test. So. But at the time, I wasn't sure.
So just like we're right on that one, we're going to be right on recoilless rifles as long as, because we did true false on most of them. So
One of them we did.
so we got ourselves covered. So we're still going to be right.
Is that it for front page?
That's it.
Keep your allies close, but keep your enemies closer.
All right, so on Keep Your Enemies Close, I want to talk about a company of heroes.
Have you used them yet?
Yes, I have, several times. And, of course, I'm talking about the Easy Company from the Nuts book, the Band of Brothers.
Have you used them against me?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I had my last battle, maybe my last battle report, I used this, because I just wanted to have some fun. So I threw a bunch of these, and you get a lot of warriors. They cost points, but you get a lot of warriors. And so if you've watched the movies or read the books, you'll recognize a lot of these names. So, like, have you seen the movie?
No.
Okay, you haven't seen the movie. Okay, first one is Captain Richard Winters, which was like their first leader they had, and he kept getting promoted. There's also Captain Nixon's with him, so you get both guys on one stand.
Oh.
And what he does, he becomes a higher command team, so you still keep your first and second command, but he's the leader now.
Oh,
and then if he dies, the others take back over.
Oh, he's above them?
He's a higher command team. Now, what's nice is Captain Nixon's rule gives all the platoon leaders in the weapons and combat platoons, so not support, they get eyes and ears.
Everyone?
Every one of those platoon leaders get eyes and ears.
Holy crap.
But the other rule they give also is Winters gives a re-roll on company morale checks. I think it's just one re-roll on company morale checks. So that's what you get when you pick Winters, and he's 70 points for that. So 70 points for the eyes and ears for each of those platoons.
Like pretty much almost turning your entire weapons and
Weapons in combat.
weapons in combat to half recon.
Right. So it's not going to be tanks, artillery. I'm kind of looking at the list here. It's going to be the infantry, your machine guns, and parachute mortar platoons are the ones going to be able to do it. So if your men are moving out there, yeah. Okay, another one you can get is Lieutenant Ronald Spears. And he doesn't start on the table. He kind of gets, later in the game, you get to put him down next to a platoon. He's kind of running around by himself. Also, what he does is, when he's not in bulletproof cover, he gets to reroll his save.
When he's not?
When he's not. Because this actually happened was, they were in town, and they're trying to get to the other side. I think it's in Foy. And this one group of Americans went to flank from their company here. Went to flank and was kind of a little bit cut off. He ran across the town, and Germans were like, what is this guy doing? They were like puzzled by this guy. He's running through the German line, going to the other side, and then he ran back. Yeah. They shot him, but they were mostly shocked that he did this. He's like, what is this guy doing? So, yeah, so they kind of played that up with this, that, when he's out there in the open and gets hit, he gets to re-roll. Okay. But what's nice, too, is, okay, one scary thing is, of course, if the breakthrough guns hit him, no save. But even with that, and even if he fails a save, he gets his warrior save, for which the opponent would have to roll 4+ to actually take him out. So he's got 3, he'd have to fail twice on his 3+ save, then the opponent's going to have to roll that 4+ to actually take him out.
Wow.
But would you actually shoot him?
Probably not, unless I have nothing else to shoot at.
Yeah, he comes out when there's ambushes put out, and he's placed within 6 inches of any team of a parachute rifle platoon. He's a company. Oh, do you know what? He replaces the company command carbine team, so he's the company commander.
Oh.
So if you take him, he's going to replace your company commander, but then he comes out during ambushes. Interesting. And he is 45 points. Okay. And all these guys are going to be fearless veterans. All right, next one is First Sergeant Carwood Lipton, and he becomes the second in command. And this is one thing your second in command cannot do, and he allows reroll failed platoon morale checks. Your company commander can join a platoon and give them that. Your second in command can't. So he does. So you have your company commander and him can give those rerolls. Wow. So you can kind of spread them out. You can have one platoon on the left flank rifle or even tank, because he's a warrior. Have him join that tank and make him re-roll. Well, actually, they don't want to do morale check, platoon morale check. Yeah, tank would still have to do that. So you can have him as an extra backup on your field for that. And let's see, where's the price for this guy? Oh, 25 points for that.
Wow. Okay,
then you got Eugene Rowe, and he's actually not a model. You put it on the table. Oh. I was using like a heart. I found a first like a Red Cross thing now I'm going to use. And basically, once during a turn when the opponent's like killing your people, you can choose, I don't want this one to die. You can put Rowe out, the marker, and if you get 5+, he didn't die. But it's once per turn.
Wow. And
so he is 50 points.
So with him and the other guy, he has 4 chances not to die.
That's true. Wait, you killed him? No, wait, Rowe's there? Oh, he's still in the game.
That would be so annoying.
Okay, then there's the Toccoa Sergeants, which you can make your combat and weapon platoons. Any of those, so not support, can be led by Toccoa Sergeant, and they can re-roll failed motivation tests. So counter assaults, tank terror, becoming unpinned.
Wow.
They give you all, and those I think they're 10 points each to give those rerolls. And when you're fearless, 3+. Oh, wow. I failed. Let me re-roll that. Oh, I made it. And the last one is Corporal Daryl Shifty Powers. He's going to take the place of a regular infantry stand. Once per turn, he may re-roll any one failed to hit roll, which actually did come into play in my last battle. He missed both his shots, and I got to re-roll, and he actually did hit. And normally a rifle firepower is 6+. He's 4+. So it's like a sniper.
Oh, wow.
Actually, he's better than a sniper. He shoots the same range as a sniper, but he gets 2 shots and gets to reroll 1 of those. And firepower 4+, which matches a sniper.
So he has 2 shots, reroll 1?
Oh, actually, no, he has 1 shot. You're right. He has 1 shot. Even on the move, he still has 1 shot, unless you replace his rifle. Because the American's automatic rifle deal.
Oh, okay.
So
he's a sniper, because a sniper is like reroll the field hit.
yeah, same with him. And that 4+. So he is a sniper. That moves with the infantry.
Did he have a sniper rifle in the show?
No, he was just a really good shot.
Oh.
He was like one of the best shots in the company. And he cost a whole oh my gosh, 15 points.
Hey.
So I basically almost took, I had everybody in that list except for Winters, Spears, and that's it. So I took Lipton, Eugene Rowe, the medic, the Toccoa sergeants, and Shifty in that game. And then basically it was just, I just wanted to have fun with them. Wasn't worried about, in that game I wasn't worried about winning or losing. I just wanted to play those guys, see what they were like.
Did you notice any downsides to them?
The platoons are very expensive.
Oh.
I think it got to around 300 points for 1 rifle platoon, but I put it in Toccoa sergeant. Well, I don't think it counted that in points, but I replaced like 3 rifle stands and made them bazookas. And there were some other things I did. So they're expensive to begin with. I think they're 265. Yeah, if you want to go, you get a command rifle machine gun team. You get 3 rifle squads, and each squad only has 2 stands in it. So you're talking 2, 4, 6 stands of riflemen. You get a mortar and a bazooka team.
So 6 stands, a mortar, and bazooka.
Yeah. Then I added in another bazooka, which cost 20 points. Then I took out 1 rifle stand out of each squad. So it's going to be 3 rifle stands gone and replaced them with a bazooka. So as 3 more bazookas went in to replace them, and that costs 5 points each. So I think it cost me around 300 points for a squad. So it came down to, I had a command rifle machine gun team. I had 1, 2, 3 rifle teams, the M2 60mm mortar, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bazookas. And it cost around 300 points, but they're fearless veterans.
That's kind of scary. I'm glad I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you may.
That's new.
This one's not so much like an overlooked rule, but it's something I kind of want to help. And it helps me to kind of go through this, is about allocating hits.
Okay.
So you've got your machine guns set up here, your 4 HMGs, MG42s, which are going to put out a bunch of lead. So they're going to get 6 shots each, I think is what this thing says. Yeah, 6 shots. So you shot 24.
Okay.
And you shot at these guys, and you hit a whopping 4 times. Okay? So that's why I have this numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. What we got is we got 3 infantry stands within 16 inches and 3 out. And they're basically going to be the same. We have 1 that's just out in the open, 1 that's gone to ground, and 1 that's in a building within 16 inches. And the same thing beyond 16 inches. 1 in the open, 1 gone to ground, and 1 in the building. So they're the same. Got those 3 infantry stands within 16 inches, and those 3 beyond, and they're the same thing. 1 in the open, gone to ground, in a building. So you hit 4 times. How are you going to allocate these hits? So you have number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 shot. And so you're going to have to put number 1 for where's that first shot going to go, and number 2, and so forth.
I think that's fairly easy. I believe it should be him because
Okay, so you're going to do the one that's in the open.
He's in the open.
Within 16 inches.
Within 16 inches.
Okay.
He doesn't have any less armor.
Okay.
So I figure that's the easy one. And then I know some of these other rules, but I don't know the order of operation. Yeah, I don't know the order of operation.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to help you out.
Okay.
Okay? We're going to take that number 1 back. Okay, so you're not sure, it's like, and I understand because when I first started, it's like, oh my gosh. Okay, what I want you to remember is the initials VOG.
VOG?
VOG. VOG. V stands for valid target. So are all these guys valid targets? Yes, we're going to say they are.
Okay.
So that's your V taken care of. O is for operational or open. So anybody in the open is going to be hit before those in bulletproof cover.
Okay.
Finally, G is gone to ground. And when it comes to doing these in this order, think also the 16-inch rule. So let's go first one, open, operational. So who's in the open?
These four, or these two.
These two. You have to allocate then first those within 16 inches before those beyond 16 inches. So number one, you were right.
Yep.
Number two is going to go to this one beyond 16 inches that is in the open.
That would have been my first guess, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Okay, now so we're done. Now open before those in bulletproof cover. So now we're heading, are we going to go to gone to ground or the guys in bulletproof cover?
I've gone to ground.
That's the G, that's last.
So you go to
Yep, it'll go to the guys in the building. Those within 16 first. So I have one in the building within 16 gets the third shot, and the one and beyond 16 gets the fourth. Now, if you hit a fifth time, now it's going to gone to ground. The guy within 16 first, then the guy beyond 16. So V-O-G.
Wow. And so bulletproof cover before gone to ground.
Right, gone to ground's last. But the very, very, very last thing would be bailed out and bogged down. So gone to ground gets hit before bailed out and bogged down vehicles do.
Yeah, I wouldn't got that. Because at best, I think it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep. So again, VOG, valid target. Okay. Open. Those in the open, not in bulletproof cover. First those within 16, then those beyond. Now we go to those in bulletproof cover, those within 16, those beyond. Then we go to gone to ground. Those within 16, those beyond. That's it.
Interesting.
More war! Really?
All right, we played a game of this Flames of Tanks at a gaming store, and basically we took 3 tanks aside and we played on a 4x4 area. And if I would have read the rules right, it would have been a little different game. But I was wrong about the spawning thing, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I think I like it better than Tank Ace.
I wasn't really a big fan of Tank Ace, so that's not hard for me.
Yeah.
But it's also it's a game I think is fun, but I think I need it in moderation. I don't think I can enjoy this like playing this every other week. And play this once in a while. I play this.
Well, I'm kind of I played not too long ago, and I played a 30-minute game, and that was quick. Where we played, about an hour, I think? We played about an hour. Yeah, I think that was too long. And also, I was playing against, and we were playing, the person I was playing against, we had 4 tanks aside, and we was playing the whole table, which really opened up the battlefield, I think. I think it made it a much better game, and we only played for 30 minutes.
It also makes the upgrade to your range useful. Because I got that twice on tank, I was like, ooh, I could go 48 inches. I'm here. Everything I want to shoot at is about 32 inches away.
Yeah.
That's really useful.
Yeah, and also there's things where you get extra speed come into play, too. But one of the things I was thinking about, it would be a nice thing to take to, the gaming store and have, from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock or whatever, every week we're going to play this. Because it is so simple that people just come in and maybe it'd be a good introduction to the Flames of War game. It's not really technically Flames of War. It's got a little bit of the rules to it with the armor and the saves and stuff like that. But it'd be people get to run around with tanks, and the tank gets destroyed, you just come back.
That's for that. I might just try to play it just to get people interested. And if hopefully we do get people interested, take my place.
Maybe I shouldn't destroy your tank so much. Of course, I think. I won that game. But I blame part of it on me not doing correctly on the spawning.
Well, I had the best tank because it's just I had one tank. He got destroyed at the beginning of the game, and then he did get destroyed again. It killed 11 or 13 tanks.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
So I was like, wow, he just had to stack up upgrades. I think he had more upgrades than everyone else almost combined.
You know what? I did notice in the game I played last time, when certain tanks have you look at their, I want to call it the garage, the area where they got their upgrades ready, and you're going, oh, if I destroy that tank, they're going to get all that. I'm going to shoot this other tank. So there is that little tactics like, you know what, you can run around and shoot all you want with that, and I'm probably not going to destroy that because I see what's setting over there.
Yeah, like, after a while, it's like, I wouldn't mind it getting destroyed because, you know, when it comes back, you're going to, yeah, it's going to hurt you bad.
So, yeah, I'm kind of at the thing that this, even at, like, those board game nights, they have those board game nights, take this out there. I could see them playing this.
That's a good point. That's a really good idea.
I mean, what, 30 minutes? Hey, guys, we'll just play for 30 minutes. I've got all the stuff here, you know, I got all the tanks, because you only need one tank.
Yeah. And maybe have some kind of systems like,
well,
maybe play longer, but have people just rotate.
I'm sorry, you have one tank per person, or 3 tanks for that one person, and you don't need like a whole platoon, I should say. So, yeah. So yeah, I should think about that. Board game nights.
Yeah, definitely try that. That's when you have about 20, 30 people who want to play games.
Yes.
So that's about the best time. You know, they're open to playing other games.
And it's quick.
Yeah.
You say, how long do you want to play for? 20 minutes? Oh, we'll play for 20. But I did find, I think the 30-minute was a good time.
That's a sweet spot.
It seemed like it for me, at least during that game. Not an hour.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if we had more players.
Yeah.
But for just 2 people using...
Well, we were also kind of learning the rules, too, during that game, so...
All right, soldier, you will shape up and you will listen, because we are now going to talk about Sun Tzu and the art of war. Attention!
All right, we're going to talk about Sun Tzu, and I think basically looking at chapter 10 called Terrain, I think we may stick with this chapter for several sessions and just do a little bit at a time. And I think we kind of talked about going through number 1 through 5 on the terrain, and we'll go 6 and on, a couple more. So the first one was, Sun Tzu says, I always start a chapter with that, we may distinguish 6 kinds of terrain. So think about it in a game. There's possibly 6 types of terrain. Let's see if this is true for a game. Accessible ground. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, just any open territory. It's just nothing's going to interfere. Your tanks just roll. Your vehicles roll. Men move across. Well, men are never really. So accessible ground, yes. Entangling ground. I'm thinking that's...
Given his definition, which comes later, he talks about what these are later. I think yes.
Okay. Temporizing ground.
Most likely yes, because I think a lot of these will fit, but I haven't looked up what his definition
It's
is.
such that neither side will gain by making the first move on that. And I guess you gain more by being the second person to go there. Then there's narrow passes. Yeah, 'cause there could be minefields and other things kind of funneling you into an area.
Or just 2 like spots of like difficult terrain or impassable.
Or between the buildings.
Yeah.
And stuff, you know, you don't want your tanks trying to take. And precipitous heights, which I think would be like a high ground.
Okay.
So we have hills, positions at great distances from the enemies. Yeah. So
yeah, one is just laying out what each of these are. Now he talks about more in detail.
So the first one is ground. Now we're heading to number 2. So I was number 1, was explaining what the 6 types of terrain are. So you could think about that in terrain on the battlefield. So number 2 says, ground which can be freely traversed by both sides is called accessible.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah. That's just any open territory, you know. Nothing's going to slow you down. No rough terrain. No checks.
I think it probably applies for probably a little bit more type of terrain than that. But you probably want to look at the definition of the others before going into that.
Okay, now, because we were only going to go to number 5. So we're on number 3 already. With regard to ground of this nature, so what we just talked about, and the note here says, generally speaking, level country is meant by the accessible, so level country. With regard to ground of this nature, be before the enemy, or be, eyes just went bad on me. Be before the enemy in occupying the raised and sunny spots, and carefully guard your line of supplies.
So yeah, terrain is like it's not that hard to get into. Pretty much you want to try to get there first instead of pick out the good spots.
Right, and occupy the raised and sunny spots. I guess maybe that's he does talk a lot in here some about like having the sun to your back.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what he means by the sunny spots also.
For our game, it'd be useful to like probably have like not have your enemy's reserve spot behind you.
Right. I did mess up. I missed it. Like last time, they had this big paragraph explaining something, and then there's still a line. So here's the whole number 3. With regard to ground of this nature, be before the enemy in occupying the raised and sunny spots, and carefully guard your line of supplies. Then you will be able to fight with advantage.
I'm using the site is pretty much word for word what you have, so I didn't see that either.
I hate that he put that paragraph in the middle. Okay, so, I don't have much more to say about that.
So yeah, it's like if essentially we're talking about like terrain that's easy for both sides to get to. Try to get there first. Put your back to like safety,
And also, if it's up higher and accessible, take those first.
So yes, pick the best spots first.
Except guard your line of supplies. That doesn't matter in this game. We're not sending food to our men, extra ammo,
Oh, you also want to be able to cut off, like, if I have a unit back here, if they want to get to it, you might want to have opportunities like, well, you want to get to them, you got to go through me, and I will shred you down.
I guess that's one way to look at it, yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right, number 4. We're close to being done with this one. Ground which can be abandoned but is hard to reoccupy is called entangling. Oh.
Yeah.
I misunderstood entangling there.
Yeah, like I was reading that, I was thinking of stuff like a fortified company and like minefields or everything was like really difficult terrain at like either both sides don't have a lot of troops and tanks will get stuck on there. So I guess it's later, but that'll be a good spot. It's like you might can leave it and not worry about defending it as much, knowing that it's hard for the enemy to get through there.
Well, it also says for you to reoccupy. Ground which can be abandoned but is hard to reoccupy.
I think reoccupy for either side.
Mm. So that's called entangling. So the number 5 now talks about the entangling. Yeah. From a position of this sort, so we're talking about the entangling, if the enemy is unprepared, you may sally forth and defeat him. Ooh. I thought you would just sit back still. So if he's unprepared, sally forth and go and defeat him. But if the enemy is prepared for your coming, and you fail to defeat him, then return being impossible, disaster will ensue. So if his guys are ripe for the taking, they're pinned down, there's not many left,
so
you're not ready to do a morale check on them.
Essentially, if it's in terrain that's hard to get into, if they're not ready for it, you should be able to go in there and take it from them. If he is ready for you, then you're in a world of hurt because you probably have trouble getting to him, and you'll have trouble trying to get out.
Yeah. So again, it's just pick your battles.
Yeah.
You have to remember that. Because it is one of those things you're afraid to, like if you're in a building, you're afraid of leaving that building to do something.
Yeah.
And then, who am I going to make it back? But if you got them down close enough to maybe do a morale check with them, one of the things you could do is you can assault in, take some of the guys out. They can try to counter assault, and then you either pull back or you make your counter assault, but you purposely pull back. Now they have to do a morale check, and you're back in your building because you don't have to keep battling it out. I'm just knocking you down enough that you're going to do a platoon morale check.
Oh, that's good.
All right, so we will continue next time with number 6, because I think this chapter, from what I've read so far, it seems like a really good chapter for wargaming. Terrain.
Especially Flames of War.
And now for something completely off topic.
All right, for off topic, Arthur, you wanted to talk about role-playing games.
Yeah, we both mentioned that it's not a hobby that we're that excited about anymore. So, wanted to talk about what made it the games we loved about it, and now why we're not so much in love with it.
I guess part of mine is I don't know. It just seems like I want to say back in the day, but it's true. We're talking like mid-'80s, late '80s is when I started playing role-playing games. It just seemed like you worked together. There was some, but it wasn't that major of a party conflict. And we started with like AD&D, so there wasn't any skills. You just, can I do this? Yeah. The GM says yeah or no, or make a skill check. It just seems like some of the games now that people want to play, everything's like really scripted out. You got to plan your character for 20 levels, Yeah. And I would rather just make a character really, 5-10 minutes, make a character, let's play. Yeah. And my character will develop during the game.
Yeah. For me, I think I just been with the wrong group. Like, since when I started, I've been playing with my friends. Mm-hmm. I never went out to look for people who was interested in the same kind of stuff I wanted to, so I never got around to that. And over time, I realized what each of us wanted are directly opposite of each other, and pretty much have to compromise on what we want for fun. Over time, I'm beginning to realize I'm compromising more than everyone else, or else I'm compromising and they're not, mainly because my style of game is little or no fun to them. And over time, I realized I don't want to compromise anymore.
Yeah.
So I just stopped. If I think about it deep down, I think I wouldn't mind gaming, but I would want to play the type of game I want to play.
Right.
And it also has to be a game I don't hate. Which reminds me, one of the few games I'm in is a game that I no longer like and would say I would never ever play again, D&D 3.5. But I'm in a group where, unlike my other experiences, everything just feels right. So I don't mind being in that game. Because one of the reasons I hate 3.5 is it was like you're talking about. Most people I've seen make characters for 3.5 starting at 1. Even starting at level 1, they got all the 20 levels planned out ahead of time. And on one side, I kind of understand that because you kind of need to get certain abilities or classes.
Right.
And on the other side, I just hate it from a storyline point of view because it doesn't consider the progress you make through the campaign.
Right.
And with my D&D group, we're most people would consider our characters inefficient. We're not baseline. We just start with 1 and just start building our characters based on how we feel our characters are at.
Right.
And from that concept, each of us have 2 characters. And in particular, my rogue is really interesting because while I made him at first level, where I envisioned him being later is so not where he is now at 11th.
Well, it's like life, when you're a kid, you're
Yeah.
saying, I want to be this when you grow up, and then look where you end up.
Yeah. Because, my rogue is he took an optional rule, so instead of sneak attacks, he has fighter feats. And the idea was he's going to be like a frontline fighter. More like a dexterous, but still like a frontline fighter. And at the time, it was four characters. I had 2, the other players had 1. And we had my cleric, which was he was more of a frontline fighter than a healer. Then we had a wizard, and then we had a warblade, which is like a uber fighter.
Right.
Later on, the other 2 players added another character, so we all had 2. And they added a samurai and a barbarian. Which means we have way more frontline fighters now. So it was my character wasn't really needed as a frontline anymore. In addition, another reason why I hate 3.5 is rolling for hit points. And I rolled really bad for hit points a couple times. So I didn't have the hit points really to be on the front line anymore. So I was kind of sitting in this mode as like, what I want my character to do, I can't do it anymore. So I have what am I supposed to do? And then playing overall, I realized I came up with the idea. I was like, I have an idea of where I could take him. If he could be a whip master, it could do all kinds of tricks with whips. So yeah, I came up with the idea of like level 4 or 5 when he didn't have the skill with whips. So I had to spend feats to learn how to use whips, and then start building all the feats to make so I could do the stuff with the whip. And so from pretty much level 5 to 10, my character kind of just sucked. It was nothing he could really do. Though also in there, he also took, like I said, we have a Warblade. He took some Book of Nine Swords stuff to make him more martial, and he had some parts of healing, which was kind of cool because he had an attack that if he hit something, him or an ally 30 feet can heal. And then he took a stance where every time he hit something, someone heals for 2. So he became like another healing character for me, who actually, during the fight, he healed more than my cleric. So that was kind of cool. But like at 11, he finally got the final feat that made all his other abilities like finally work. And so now it's like, okay, I can reach out to you, trip you, that counts as an attack, so you get healed. I get a free attack because there's other just to hit you. It doesn't really hurt you, but because of my other ability, someone else heals. And then when he gets up again, I get to hit you again to heal someone else. And then because of my rogue ability, when someone else hits you, you provoke attack opportunity for me. I get to hit you again to heal someone else.
Wow.
So I was like doing all kinds of cool stuff, and even like the frontline fighters were fighting this really hard guy. He just like did a 4-round attack, hit them once, kind of hard to hit them. He touched, it's like, okay, he provoked from me. I trip him, hit him, so heal someone for 4. Now you can continue your attacks with him on the ground now. So after I did that, the other players were like, wow, they really like my character because I like applied another side of the battle now. And that is so far away from where I've started my character.
Right.
And I think that's where more games should be. Your character should evolve compared to what the needs of the game and the experience of the player.
Yeah, because when I ran like Castle Crusades, there was no feats. But I told people, hey, if you want a feat, you can start trying it in the game and learning it. It may take negative to hit. So like Alex wanted to be able to run along a wall, not like a Spider-Man, but kind of run a little bit along the wall, jump off, because he wanted to do like Troy, like flying with the spear in his hand. So he wanted to do that kind of like jumping off walls and stuff. I said, okay, you can start doing that. And he took a negative first level. He tried it a little less, and finally, like 3rd level, he could do it and do like bonus damage doing it. That's the way I would rather try, because then you don't have to plan your character out. It's more like what you're starting to do now. It's like, ooh, I'm not this now. But man, I had him planned out to level 20. You guys are screwing me over.
Yeah.
Where you kind of switch like, well, I'm not able to do the front line, so I'm going to switch to this. And you kind of had that option, but if you planned your character out to level 20, some people do.
Yeah, then like no matter what happens, like, yep, I'm just stuck on this build path, and I don't like that.
Another thing that kind of turned me a little off from role-playing is I blame 3.5 for this. Or 3.0, or whatever you want. It's the rules lawyering, because they put in the book everything. They laid out everything, so the players go, yeah, I can do that. Look, it says right here in the book. Where even if you read like the AD&D books and stuff from like what Gary wrote, and like in DMG, players should not read this. Monster manual, players should not read this. This is for the GM only. You shouldn't, because it's going to ruin the game for you. You should only know what's in the player's handbook.
Though that kind of reminds me of something else that kind of also like make me like a little ambivalent about starting up gaming again. Is I have a friend who was always telling me about his D&D 5th edition experience and all the problems that's going on in between the group and the GM. And I'm just listening. I'm going like, You know, I see problems with both sides. Though, I'm much more closer to the GM.
Right.
But even the GM is doing things where, like, you're kind of railroading players. You cross that line. There's a line where, like, I think you should maybe get close to it, but don't cross it. And I think he's crossing the line.
Oh, wow.
So I can't even agree with the GM, even though in general his style is closer to mine.
Well, there's one I want to try, and I brought the book here. I actually bought the book because it's free online. The rules are free, and it's Dark Dungeons. And it's basically a retro clone, or kind of like a reprint, but a retro clone of the basic expert, BECM thing. It's Rule Cyclopedia of Dungeons and Dragons. So it's like the basic expert and all that. But man, what's funny is they got skills in here. They have weapon feats. So you start putting like your weapon feats, putting more points to it, you start doing more damage with the weapon, and you're able to start doing certain abilities, like you're tripping.
Yeah.
So if you do whip, as you put more of those points into that whip, you do more damage with your whip, and you're going to be able to start doing special abilities with your whip.
That sounds cool.
So this is one that I would like to, maybe a one-shot just to see what it's like. But it's one book. That's it. That's everything. That's the Monster Manual, the DMG, and the Player's Handbook. And where the Dark Dungeon comes from, it actually have this comic. Jack Chick, like this religious guy, he called it Dark Dungeons because it was Dungeon Dragons was satanic, you know.
Oh,
and so
God.
this is a play on it, and the example characters in here are like Elstar was a character from the comic strip that this one person was playing, and so it's in there. Blackleaf was another one. So the people that put this together use those characters' names as their example characters in this. Yeah, so it's free. And it does have, if you're a dwarf, you're a dwarf. You're a fighter. And what one guy I was listening to one guy kind of explain, he says, think of it this way. You got like people all over the world, if they go to war, these people are normally warriors. They may have a shaman or two, but they're normally all warriors. So think of it like that dwarves are like the warriors. Where elves have time and all that, and they're going to develop kind of into some fighter, and they're going to start working with magic also. So they're kind of the fighter magic user, where humans just eclectic.
So basically saying like all dwarves are fighters because those are only type of dwarves you're going to meet.
Right. As far as player characters.
That's player character. Okay.
The elves are fighter magic users. It's I said hobbits, but there's halflings in there that are kind of like fighters, but they got some little special abilities they do, like they can hide a little easier and stuff like that. Then you have the humans that can be a cleric, fighter, magic user, or thief. But what's also interesting is not a druid until your cleric reaches 9th level. Then he can switch to druid.
So this is pretty much like original D&D.
Yes.
I just realized
With the errata and some variants put in. And so this is the Rules Cyclopedia reprinted. And it's free.
I just realized there's also DD.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even see that. It is D&D, Dark Dungeons.
Dark Dungeon,
DD. So do you want to play D&D or DD? Yeah, so that's one I would like to, like just one evening, just try it, see what it's like.
Just got to find some players and be more up into your style of gaming.
Yeah.
Because for me, like I'm becoming slowly more about the story, but I also like rules lawyering.
Well, this
up to
does
a point.
This does have skills in it also.
Yeah.
Which is kind of where AD&D didn't have skills and stuff.
Yeah.
I think except for later when the Oriental Ventures came around. So this does have skills, and it's weapon. I thought those weapon things were. You can use any weapon. You just use unproficient with it. Then if you put a point in it, now you become a little. There's like 6 ranks in each weapon. So if you're a fighter with your longsword and you got like 6 ranks in it, you're just rah! Where somebody else using that same sword, you know. So yeah, I'd like to try it to see what it's like. Well, that wraps up another episode of War Journal, Flames of War. Your host, Arthur and Tracy, thank you for listening to this episode. You can find us on iTunes. If you like the episode, please subscribe and leave a positive review. You can find us on Facebook at Flames of War. And please like us. In addition, you can follow us on Twitter at warjournal_FOW. You can also find us on YouTube. Search for Tracy George, Flames of War. You can read Arthur's blog at chaosmagicwizards.blogspot.com. Finally, you can email us at warjournalflamesofwar@gmail.com. War Journal Flames of War is all one word, so no spaces are required. Also, please share the show on any social media of your choice. So, until next time, as always, have a good game.